Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP. Once again, thank you for support. Okay, big of the CoinsKid crew. So right now, ZEC is doing really well, isn't it? ZEC ZEC, look at that. It's absolutely flying, isn't it? But if you take a look, I think that's the all-time high, and it's pretty much tagging that level of resistance right now, isn't it? With, again, exactly the same thing happened there in 2021. You've got your lower highs in the RSI just there. You're really overbought. Anything above 70 is overbought, okay? You've got your lower highs in the RSI, and you've got your higher highs in the index. Right now, you've got exactly the same thing. You've got your higher highs in the index, and you've got your lower highs in the RSI. So for me, I think we've got a short on ZEC, okay? A lot of exuberance. From here, we've got a three-wave move up, three-wave move down, and potentially a three-wave move back up. This could be some kind of ABC correction back into the highs, some kind of distribution before, you know, it starts to come back down the stairs. So I think we've got a max short bid just still on this particular project. It may come out and stop people out, but, you know, just be careful if you do enter a short. Don't go in with your life savings. Don't be an over-leveraged degen. But right now we have got basically a bearish divergence, the same bearish divergence into the same leg of resistance as we got there, you know. So within a couple of weeks, this had tanked roughly 75%. So if we do start to do something quite similar for this particular project, you know, from this point right now, you drop 75%, you're into this god candle backtest just there, which, you know, for me, if I'm looking at this right now, is a potential scenario, because if you take a look, you've got resistance just there, and we've never backtested it as support. You know, the resistance just there, you come all the way down, you backtest that resistance once more, you made your higher low to that resistance, and you broke out just there. So you've never backtested that. So that would be a zone which, if this particular project was to bounce, roll over, sorry, and come down, I think it would bounce there like an absolute boss. I think you'd see a big bounce. Okay, so we could short it and long it at roughly 78.58, and, you know, make money flip side of the market. So if this starts to roll, you're making money, and this starts to bounce, you're going to make some money. But I would close my short at that particular level just there. And then I think as well, what we've got is another clue in the chart. You see this leg of resistance just there, that is equally another god candle back test, because, you know, on the way up, if you look at this level here, you broke out just there and you back tested it, okay? Just there, you've got another god candle back test, you back test just there. Just there, you've got a god candle back test and you back test it just there. So when you come up, you create these basically liquidity gaps equally on the way down. If you take a look at this, it's coming down, okay? You've got this huge drop just there, this god candle back test, and then slowly but surely it works its way back up into that god candle back test and then drop. So it basically works on the way down, it works on the way up. Liquidity gaps, whatever, fair value gaps, whatever. I just call them god candle back tests. So at the moment, I think if this does begin to roll off this double bearish divergence, then I think we've got a massive short down to that zone. TP at 78.58. Enter some longs, comes back up, we'll create another god candle back test to back test, pretty much like that one there, come back up, close our longs, and then enter shorts again to come all the way back down to that. And we just ride in the waves in this particular, you know, coin. So I don't necessarily think this is going to break parabolic straight away, because we're getting really overbought with a bearish divergence on this particular chart, okay? I know it's an XRP video, I do apologise, but I think right now we could have a potential short opportunity on ZEC. If you do enter the short, don't go with your life savings, don't be an over-leveraged degen, please, you know, just use 5x, 10x, whatever, but don't use that 50x, 100x or whatever. But I think we've got a potential short up where we could, you know, potentially make 75% times 5 or 10 or whatever. It's a nice little short opportunity going forward. But again, always apply stop loss. Don't be an over-leveraged degen on this particular trade, okay? Let's dive into the XRP chart, see what we can see. So at the moment, we are seeing extreme volatility in the LD. And the last time we saw this sort of flat line in the volatility was way back in 2021 in the spring. And we all know what happened there. XRP came up for a final leg of an expanding leading diagonal and then rolled into a macro correction. So if we take a look at the LD quickly, you can clearly see at the moment it's flatlining down here, and we're seeing a massive spike up today. You know, we saw this big spike up of roughly 337%, and we're seeing a lot of volatility across the market. So the last time we saw this sort of flatlining on the baseline was way back down here in sort of early 2021, you know, prior to that big pump into March, and then we came back down and got the final pump into April for Bitcoin and obviously XRP before rolling into that huge macro correction. So what we're looking at in the LD is really simple. If we do begin to start to create high lows, higher highs, then obviously liquidity is being withdrawn from crypto, especially XRP. We don't quite see it yet, okay? So at the minute, I still think with the LD, there is a clue, as well as the S&P 500 and obviously the Bitcoin dominance, so we've not seen that waterfall, that over the next couple of months, we could see another move here for XRP. And I'm looking for the invalidation. So I'll go through the charts with you and show you exactly where I think XRP could go to if we do see this, you know, completely unexpected vertical across the charts for XRP, okay? So let's take a quick look at the crypto blocks on the macro. Let's take a look at the neutral zone right now. You can clearly see the Ethereum is still in a state of optimism, even though people are really, really fearful. XRP is just still in the neutral zone at the moment. So if it can escape that neutral zone and start to go optimism into greed, and obviously, you get a big orange block and a red block for XRP, then we're out basically with the data. So let's dive into the XRP chart right now to see what we can see, okay? So looking at XRP on the 5-day time frame, all eyes on the BMS right now, because the BMS is going to hold all the clues going forward. Now my primary is the fact that I think we're going to V-shape out of here for XRP, but I don't think we'll do it immediately. By V-shape, I think what we'll do is create some kind of ascending triangle here on the BMS, where we've got the resistance of the BMS and the resistance of the floor of the descending triangle, just there, boom, 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 descending triangle, capitulation into the bottom of the BMS, and obviously you got candle back test just there. So that was my primary anticipation. Your bid zone was this God candle back test and the top and the bottom, of the BMS, the bull market support. So this is an indicator I made for you a long time ago, and like I said to you, I think the stacks of confluence would come down to this level, because what you've got is a God candle breakout just there in July. You've not back tested it. I think we've got this basically short-term bearish market structure, a descending triangle. We get really close to the apex and then we'll drop, and we did exactly that. So ignoring this wick, well, obviously you shouldn't really ignore it, but if I ignore this wick, then we're doing exactly what I thought we would do. Come back down into the BMS, potentially trend line of an expanding leading diagonal, and then we're putting a final fifth. So where could this final fifth wave go to? That's the big question. So from here right now, if XRP has seen some kind of shakeout before the breakout, then you could be looking at this trend line being tagged, and that will be our sell zone up here, roughly by the end of the year. Q1 2026, we could be looking at $8.53. Now that is something I've had in the charts for a very long time, which is a bit strange to be honest with you right now, because if I look at this potential scenario of a massive expanding leading diagonal where regardless of the wick, we've had a 1 into a pullback, 2 into a 3 into a 4, and then we break bull again, okay, we could be up there on that neckline, because it's exactly where this neckline came to in 2023, because this was a 1 into a 2 into a 3 into a 4 into a 5, and we followed the neckline, okay, absolute followed it to a T. You 1, you pull back 2, you 3, you pull back 4, no, it's going to 0, and then you break out final fifth into the neckline. So we could have something quite similar, but the one thing that is the anomaly right now obviously is your wick. So in the next few weeks, this is where we have to apply a little bit of caution, a little bit of patience, unfortunately, and like I've taught you, patience is key of XRP, because we could be gearing up for a rinse repeat where we end this bull market the way we started it. 1 2 3 4 5, expanding leading diagonal, 1 2 3 4 5, as anticipated, expanding leading diagonal. So I wouldn't put it past XRP doing this, because if we take a look at this time last year, you're coming down, oh no, it's going to 0, but we was looking at huge breakout, and that was literally from the end of October into the start of December. It did that ferocious move to the upside. So I wouldn't put it past off XRP doing that. And I remember this time frame as well, everyone was like, no way, but it came up, okay, and at that point I said to you, I think we're coming for a big crash and correction. So if we see this, you'll be in a 1 2 3 4 5 setup, that's it, game over, and you're coming for your monster bear market. So I'll leave you with that. Nothing to say is financial advice, but we're still in the realms of this possibility because we've not lost the BMS. So over the next few weeks, get the BMS into your chart, keep an eye on it, because if we break down below the BMS, it will begin to spell, okay, we're not doing this, we're coming down, filling this wick, and this beautiful move to the upside is beginning to fade away, unfortunately. So are there any other clues to this potential scenario playing out? Well, if we zoom in on the 4-hourly time frame to XRP, and I've already relayed this to the CoinsKid crew, if you take a look, we have a God candle backtest just there that was never been backtested for XRP at roughly, what is that? And I relayed this to the CoinsKid crew at 342. So the clue may be in the charts within itself. You found support on the BMS, everyone sold and ran for the hills, and right now you're creating this beautiful reversal structure, a potential Adam and Eve bottom where you're calling up and you break bull into the God candle backtest just there and take out the all-time high, and boom, you're in a vertical into Q4, which would be absolutely amazing, because that's been my primary for a very long time. I wish everyone most luck. To get this indicator into charts, go to coinskid.com and follow the process. Take care everyone, back to an update on XRP. Bye bye.